you love them so much that you refuse to see them for who they are. So all white folks are racist. White folks never share power with blacks. Look at Russell Simmons in Def Jam. Russell Simmons, Stone Cold House Negro, versus with the Chinese lady, Kimora Lee, the big face lady. And then now he with a white lady. He don't learn. He opened up Def Jam with, who was it, Leor Cohen?
Cohen.
Rick Rubin?
Oh, okay.
Whoever, one of them Jews. And guess what? 2 years ago, Russell Simmons had to sue the company he owned because they manipulated him out of ownership in a corporation he started.
Wow.
Because he believed in having white friends. Y'all better wake the hell up. You ain't got no white friends. When it's time for Dr. Umar to get married, and I'm gonna get married. Don't listen to me. I'm gonna get married. Yeah, I'm cute, but I'm gonna get married. Listen. If my wife tells me she got a white friend, we can't get married. Because that, no. They gotta recognize who I am. That's a political risk to my work. I can't have no Negro around me who believes in the redemption of white supremacy. If you got white friends, I cannot work with you. That is a political risk. Infiltration. And the reason you don't understand why white folks treat you bad is you fail to realize that everything white people do vis-a-vis black folks is done in the name and in the interest of the maintenance of white supremacy. So they will lie to you, they will trick you out your job, they will steal your house, anything to serve white supremacy. You believe in equality. Our culture is based on equal. We don't do hierarchy. White folks breathe and eat hierarchy. Speaking of that, let's talk about Willie Lynch for a minute. And we're going to begin to round it down. Willie Lynch was a slave master. Whether he lived or not is irrelevant. The science of the letter is 100% exact.
Yes, it is.
Everything in your Bible is not historical truth. Everything in your Quran is not historical truth. It is a parable, a lie, a story created to teach a spiritual truth. African people, we invented the science of creating stories to tell the truth. So ain't nothing wrong with no parable. Willie Lynch taught 3 things that I want to give you. He taught more than 3, but I want to focus you on 3. The first thing he told the slave masters of America, if you want to control your black folks, never let them communicate with each other through your language. Excuse me, through their language. Make them learn yours. Willie Lynch said, don't let them speak that Wolof, don't let them speak that Swahili, don't let them speak that Zulu. Don't let them speak that Ashanti, don't let them speak that Yoruba. Don't let them communicate. And the white men of America said, why? Willie Lynch said, if they continue to talk their own language, they will always remember a time when they were not yours. You cannot break the spirit of a person who speaks their own cultural tongue. But guess what? The white man of America didn't listen. He told you, if I catch you reading, I cut your foot off. I catch you reading, you get lunch. I catch you reading, 20 lashes on your back. And so by the white man making it illegal for us to learn, he helped you preserve your African tongue. That's why when we talk to each other today, you ain't talking English. Ain't a Negro in here speaking English. I saw a nigger at the gas station, West Oakland, last night. He said, we be fixing to come to your lecture. Damn it, that ain't no English. We be fixing. I said, damn, it's the South or the West. That's how they gonna talk in Memphis tomorrow. That's how they gonna talk in South Carolina next Thursday. Now I know we got some blacks in here who say, nah, you're just making excuses for our kids not speaking broken English, perfect English. Well, y'all need to understand. The white man don't object to your child because he don't speak perfect vernacular. He don't object to the black boy because his pants is sagging. He objects to the black boy himself. Nothing you can do will make your son acceptable to the white teacher who's miseducating him. Why? because he is a threat, not only to her son's success, but to the genetic survival of her race. Listen! Listen! Black folks, wherever I go, ask me this one question. Dr. Umar, we already on the bottom. We ain't got nothing. Why white folks won't leave us alone? Why they still killing us? Why they still coming up with diseases? Y'all see they got a new disease now. Zika, Shanika disease. Shanika. That's Shanika. Ain't no damn Zika. That's Shanika. Okay? But listen, I need y'all to get this, and I want my children to get this. I want my princesses to get this. The reason white folks are still messing with black people, even though you ain't got nothing, 3 reasons why they hate you. Listen up. Write them down, repeat them to yourself at bedtime so you understand why you at war. They got nothing to do with your income, your education, your religion, your skin color. Because they're going to come from Obama too. Once they're done with his ass, they're going to come for Obama. Listen. Number 1 source of jealousy and envy towards blacks. Your historical accomplishments. We are in Memphis, right? Last time I was here, excuse me, we're not in Memphis, we in ADHD. When I get to Memphis tomorrow, the University of Memphis has a pyramid on the campus. Y'all got any pyramids in California? Nope. Any obelisks in California? Nope. Any sphinxes at any universities, you sure? Because there's normally one somewhere. Nope. Never mind that, hear me out. In most white countries, there's always some symbol of Egyptian prosperity. I was in Paris. They flew me to Paris last year to speak to the French, black French. And we went down to Napoleon's pavilion. Napoleon had a great pyramid and a obelisk. The whole Washington, D.C. is laid out like him. Why? Because that's considered the greatest civilization in world history. And you built it. So the white man knows what you're capable of doing, and if he lets your ass alone long enough, you'll do it again. So number 1, he's jealous of the fact that you were operating civilizations when he was still running around butt naked on force, drinking blood from the skulls of his conquered dead. Do you realize that Europeans do not get an intellectual history until 1,000 years BC? Do you realize that nearly every pyramid was built by 1,000 BC? Do you realize we had already created just about every religion by 1000 BC? Do you realize how insignificant and unnecessary the white man's presence in your life actually is? Yeah. Reason number 2, they hate your ass.
I hate her.
Gatorade is good tonight. I sure the FBI ain't tapped this. Second reason white folks hate you. Your intellectual potential. Do you realize that you invented half the things white people use? And you invented it before you were allowed to go to his school. Do you realize the helicopter came from you? The cell phone came from you. The internet came from you. The refrigerated truck came from you. The stoplight, the gas mask, the self-lubricating engine came from you before you could sit next to a white kid in school. They did not desegregate public school to make it equal. They desegregated public school so that they could keep an eye on all the brilliant black children, so they could draft them into this system and use them in the service of white supremacy. What if Condoleezza Rice used her intelligence for you instead of against you? What if Barack Obama, Clarence Thomas, Colin Powell use their intelligence for the race instead of against it? That's why they integrated the school. They said that little poor down Negro schoolhouse is producing geniuses. And getting back to ADHD, let me tie that in real quick, because ADHD ain't nothing more It's nothing more for the parents of all these boys. It's nothing more than ain't no daddy at home disorder. ADHD. Son don't need no Ritalin. Do you know Ritalin is pharmacologically equivalent to crack? It is one molecule away. That the Drug Enforcement Agency of America classifies Ritalin as a Schedule B drug, which means it's in the same category as cocaine and opium. And this is what you give your son every day so he can sit still long enough to be miseducated by white women as he learns about Christopher Columbus. He need crack to learn about Columbus?
Man. Right.
And then I tell you parents what? I tell you, don't get them tested for ADHD, but y'all don't listen. Don't get them tested for ADHD, but y'all don't listen. Don't get them tested for ADHD, but y'all don't listen. Why we can't get them tested for ADHD? First of all, there's no ADHD test. ADHD is an alleged behavior. No test can classify behavior. The eyes do. But 95% of the black kids in Oakland diagnosed with ADHD were never observed by the evaluating psychologist. They made their diagnosis purely on the complaints of white teachers and black mothers. You are your son's problem. Well, time out. I'm a back up. Stay with me. But the thing with that though, you're correct to an extent, but here's the issue. You can't hustle your child for a check until I give you that diagnosis. I'll hustle first. Do y'all follow that? The school hustles first.